All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Very excited to tell you about Stemson Therapeutics. We're a company who's using a lot of the technologies and tools that you hear about at this meeting, but we're applying it to the problem of hair loss. This is a problem that affects every corner of the globe, regardless of gender, age, ethnicity. It's a problem where there aren't any good solutions, and so our mission is to develop the solutions these patients so desperately need, especially in the areas of more medically difficult pathologies like alopecia areata, scarring, wounds, and chemo-induced alopecia, in addition to what most of us are familiar with in male and female pattern hair loss. A couple things I'm going to highlight for you today is introducing the very strong team of experts that we have in the field of cell therapy and hair biology. The technology that we're leveraging is induced pluripotent stem cells to derive the cell types required to generate de novo hair follicles to treat this condition. And we're the only company deploying this technology in this space. In fact, the only company really pursuing a cell therapy approach to hair loss. And so we've been able to carve out a really robust IP position in this space and growing. The market opportunity, I'm sure many of you can imagine, is absolutely enormous, and the number of folks that we expect to help in the future is really exciting for us. We are a preclinical stage company that is now advanced along through our product development, and our in vivo results are exciting enough that we're now advancing into the regulatory and manufacturing planning stages. We are a Series A stage. We've raised $30 million, including pharma participation from Allergan and AbbVie. And based on a lot of the technologies we've developed, particularly in this application, we have some exciting opportunities that we're looking to pursue in partnering to develop additional products based on this platform in a number of different areas that you can see here. So let me orient you briefly to the challenge that's facing this population of folks. When someone is losing their hair, they go out into the marketplace and they spend tens of billions of dollars of their own hard-earned money on solutions that frankly just don't work. None of them have proven the ability to stop the progress of hair loss over the long term. And once you've lost your hair, none of them can regenerate those lost hair follicles. Most folks are familiar with the two therapies that have been clinically tested and approved, Rogaine and Propecia. The last one came out in 1997. It's been almost 30 years since the last clinically tested product. Both of those have not been able to demonstrate good enough efficacy to really have an effect in the market, and frankly, they don't work at all in the female population. The most drastic solution that you can pursue is hair transplantation, and even this has very limited effect because what they do is they excise a few donor hair follicles from an area and they relocate them to a target area, but never creating net new follicles. It's gone forever from where you've taken it. And so really difficult for folks that don't have much hair left. It doesn't work also in the female population very well, and so we have this big gap in the market, and that's what Stemson aims to fill that gap there. And so just a quick introduction to the team. We've got a few of them in the audience here. We'll talk briefly. Kevin Demore, our Chief Scientific Officer, is a leader in the stem cell therapy-derived field, having worked on pancreatic islet cells at ViaCyte for many, many years as their Chief Scientific Officer. We have Megan Sandberg, who is a leader in the field of tissue engineering, specifically in the skin, because as you'll see in a few slides, our product is not good enough to just engineer the cells. We then need to take the cells and construct a functional, durable tissue to survive in the skin. And lastly, I'll mention Nick Wisniewski, who has a long history of taking machine learning bioinformatics approaches to cell therapy and drug development that we are leveraging here at Stemson to perfect our processes and our product. We got a wonderful scientific and medical advisory board here led by my co-founder, Dr. Alexei Tursky, who was the first in the world to discover how to differentiate iPS cells into hair-producing cells. And we've got a number of expert surgeons who treat these patients that we're interested in helping, as well as stem cell biologists and hair follicle biologists. And our board of directors, including two independent directors in Matt and Paul, with a long storied career in the industry, as well as two investor directors, Kirsten and Jenny. So just to step back really quickly in the pathology associated with hair loss, since we find most folks don't know too much about this, what you're experiencing as a person who has hair loss is either, on the left-hand side of this page, a slow, gradual degeneration of the functional tissue in your skin that is specific for hair follicles, or on the right-hand side in cases where there's a rapid destruction of that tissue. It could be in the case of an autoimmune condition called alopecia areata that affects about 2 million Americans. It's a much higher prevalence than many folks know. Or if you actually experience a wound, a burn, a scar, or in some cases, folks undergoing chemo experience long-term hair loss. And really what happens here is when you get beyond a certain point of degeneration or destruction, you have no functional tissue left to induce through any other approach, including molecules or biologics. And so you must pursue a tissue or cell replacement strategy. And so that's essentially what Stemson Therapeutics is doing, using induced pluripotent stem cells to derive the lost cells, ultimately constructing them into follicular units that offer a new supply of hair follicles for the patients that need them. And so to tell you a little bit about what this product actually looks like, our first program is an autologous iPS-derived solution. And what you see here is we derive an iPS line from the patient, and then in box 2 on this chart, we derive the 2 cell types, an epithelial cell type and a dermal cell type, which are required to spark the process of folliculogenesis. And so at the end of step 2, we have our target differentiated cells. Those are essentially the building blocks of what will be our final drug product. And that is in box number 3. We have a proprietary bioengineering process to construct the cells together with biomaterials into follicular units. Those units, which you see a cartoon of and a picture of here on the page in box 3, are meant to be early stage hair germs that would be transplanted into the skin, each of those units designed to generate a single hair follicle. So we would make as many of these as the patient so needs. Thanks to the scalability of iPSCs, we can frankly make an unlimited supply of these, which is part of the concept in the future of an allogeneic product, which I'll talk about in just a few slides. We then take those products and we put them into the hands of a very robust existing infrastructure of hair transplant surgeons. There's about 200,000 hair transplant surgeries performed every single year in the United States alone, so many places you can go have this done. The procedures are very robust, the tools, the surgical tools are robust, and this biomimetic design of our product, which looks exactly like a hair follicle, but it's about 1/3 the size of an adult mature hair follicle, just plugs right into those tools. Very easy clinical adoption that these doctors can deliver to the patients, which you see in box number 4, including some emerging robotics tools that can handle kind of high scale. If a patient wants to come in and get 20,000, 30,000 hair follicles regenerated through the Stemson technology, we could do that, but you got to find an automated way to deliver that, and that exists today as a platform. So this is actually an amazing development just in the last year here at the company, where we finally have an animal model we think is highly translatable to what we will see in humans, and that is our version of a humanized mouse. It's not a humanized immune system in the mouse. Instead, what you're looking at is a human skin patch that has been xenografted onto the back of a nude mouse, and we then transplant our constructs. On the left-hand side of this page is sort of transplantation day, and after about a 10-week period of tissue development, you start to see hair shafts emerge, which is in line with the timelines you would see in today's hair transplant procedures for how long those engraftments take to develop a hair shaft. And really exciting sort of histology results, not just pictures and visuals, but the histology staining there tells us that this is an all-human construct, and it has all of the compartments of a natural, normal, healthy hair follicle that we would expect to see, including sebaceous glands, including dermal papilla compartments at the base of the dermis. So really exciting results that puts us on what we hope is a rapid path to get into our first human clinical trial. We expect this product concept to be able to treat many forms of hair loss. The indications that you see up here from androgenetic alopecia, alopecia areata, scarring alopecia, chemo-induced alopecia, each represent significant market opportunities and probably represent roughly 99% of all hair loss cases out in the globe. And so we expect to pursue each of these over time, not all at once, of course, but we see our solution as having a massive advantage over any of the existing solutions today, which haven't proven to work. Quick note on roadmap. I mentioned the autologous solution that we're prioritizing just so we don't have to sort of encounter the immune response in early clinical development. But we know that this is a self-pay market, it will be a price-sensitive market, and we are keenly interested in making this accessible and available to everyone, even in the case where there may not be good reimbursement, which today there isn't much reimbursement for these kinds of solutions. So we know an allogeneic solution is going to be essential to achieving the price points that we want. There are going to be some challenges in optimizing for aesthetic outcomes and whatnot in the allogeneic solution, but we're expecting to get that program up and going in its early research phase in the first half of next year. We have other opportunities. I mentioned earlier that we're thinking about partnering, and that's frankly because we have a unique ability to generate very large amounts of hair follicle cells and hair germ units, which serves as a perfect product development and screening platform for many other product concepts that we have in the future that we'd like to pursue, but will likely partner with folks in various sectors of the industry to do that. And that's sort of the product number 3 here. So to bring this home with a couple final slides, our path into the clinic. So based on those exciting in vivo results, we have just a few engineering variables to lock down in terms of the unit, the product, the final product design that I mentioned, and finalize the testing of that efficacy and safety in our animals. We had a meeting earlier this year with the FDA, and they have blessed the IND-enabling plan and the animal testing as well as our manufacturing protocols. So we now have a clear path to get into trial. And so we hope next year to be moving rapidly through building out our manufacturing GMP environment, get the allogeneic program up and going, and then racing through those IND-enabling studies as quickly as we can to get into proof of concept for humans. Last slide to bring it home here. To enable that path forward, we are embarking now on our next round of funding, a Series B, and we are hoping that will take us all the way through and into clinical development to open up our first beachhead in this very exciting market where, frankly, very few other folks are playing, but the opportunities are huge. And so we'll be out on the trail probably with many others here at this conference over the next 6 to 9 months. Trying to close this round of funding. If anybody's interested in speaking with me about that or any other partnering opportunities, always welcome an introduction. With that, I really thank you for your time. I think I'm just a minute or two early. If anyone has a question, I'm happy to entertain it. Okay, appreciate it.